So at this point, Scott continues to act like a rude jackass, like to Jaden, but I guess we can write that off now as the Hypnobolt's doing, instead of him being the arrogant jackass he was when it first started. So yeah, the Red Rangers return to the Shiba house, and they do like a little bit of arguments here and there, taking like little cracks at each other. The next day, like their sensors go off and they see like a huge army is forming, like in like a rock quarry or something. So the two Red Rangers head out there, and Jaden summons like a horse to take him there, and Scott steals like Mentor's motorcycle, and they have like this little like a race in the forest, and being all rude to each other the whole time. It was pretty much a boring race to me. I mean, I can understand how some people might like it, but I was like, hurry up and get there. And so Jaden ended up beating Scott there, and Scott did not take kindly to that. So Scott, started fighting Jaden, and they started fighting and crap. They were fighting each other, and they were taking out Moogers and Grinders while they were fighting each other. Yeah. And then like they were fighting each other, and it was a pretty good fight. And then like Scott shot at Jaden, and Jaden threw his sword, and like they both hit each other, and they went down. And then they said, just kidding. Like, Jaden had like this metal thing protecting him, and Scott had like a symbol power thing protecting him, and they were like, just playing villains. We weren't really fighting each other. Your Hypnobolts were useless. So basically, it was explained like this. While the two Red Rangers were arguing with each other at the Shiba house, Mentor noticed, that something was wrong. So he used like a symbol power technique on them to break like the spell of the Hypnobolts. And I actually like that Mentor was using a power symbol. It's kind of cool to see him draw it. He drew like a brown color too. It was kind of cool. But yeah. So basically, this whole fight was useless. This Clash of the Red Rangers thing. There was no point in them fighting each other. Why waste time like that? Just fight the enemy. I don't even understand. I mean, yeah, it looked cool, but there was no point. I did like what they said though, like, we're humans. We're not so easy to reprogram. But there was no point to the fight. Alright, so the two Red Rangers start, defeating the rest of the grunts, and then they start fighting Professor Cog, and they start to go to town on him. They pull out the big guns, like Jaden calls on like his super mode, basically like the power he's gonna get from the black box. He calls on the super mode, and Jaden gives him like a disc, and Scott uses it to put on his shark attack mode, which is like the hyper mode, I think, in the Japanese version. It's like the blue and red cloth. They both look sick, and like they start just just wailing on Professor Cog with their powers. Super disco. So yeah, so while they're kicking Professor Cog's butt, the other Rangers managed to like return. Like they said, like they finally got the dimension like to open back up. And Emily is like, Scott, your team says hi. So yeah, all of the Rangers, like using like teamwork, they all attack Professor Cog and that Nalock he had helping him, and they managed to destroy both of them. Yes. Go Power Rangers. Only one little nitpicky thing. Well, it's not really a nitpicky thing. It's part of the show. Nalocks have 2 lives. So they killed that Nalock that was with Professor Cog. How come his second life didn't appear? So you think it's over? Oh, no. We're not just going to use Shinkenger versus Goranger footage. We're going to use the Shinkenger movie footage now. Alright, so basically they have to fight that other Nalock from earlier, General Good. And he has his gigantic Mooger army, so all the Rangers go charging in on horses and stuff. Basically fighting, and Scott and Antonio were like riding like in this Corvette red car thing. I don't know nothing about cars or whatever it was. It was the red pony. So yeah, so while the Samurai Rangers and Scott are fighting the Moogers, Jaden charges in and he attacks General Good head on, and he manages to overpower him by using the Shark Attack mode. So the Shark Attack mode comes with the Shark Sword, and Jaden used the Shark Sword, like it extends, so it extended like all over that battlefield, and it took out like all the Moogers that the Rangers were fighting, like all of them. And then like the other Samurai Rangers minus Antonio joined with Jaden, and like they took out General Good together. So yeah, they defeated General Good, but then this Nightlight actually remembers that he has a second life, so he grows big, and the Rangers call their Zords to fight him, and like they manage to beat him for a bit, but then he mutates into like a even worse creature, and then he attacks the Rangers with his serpent thing. It extended out and attacked the Rangers' Zords. Yeah. So while the Samurai Rangers were dealing with General Good's serpent thing, Antonio and Scott were far too busy trying to fix the car. The red pony was like not working, so they were trying to repair it. Obviously, that takes precedent over the giant monster battle. Obviously. I mean, of course. But don't you worry, fans. Jaden used the Shark Zord that they apparently have now, and it combined with their Megazord, and they ended up destroying General Good for good. So, at the end of the episode, the Samurai Rangers see Scott off on the dimension hopping subway. Yeah. Yeah, they, you know, part ways. And before Scott, you know, got on the subway, Mikey stopped him and said, "Hey man, I wish I could, you know, thank you properly, you know, see you eye to eye, you know, thank you properly." He's like, yeah. And Scott was like, "Yeah, I wish that too, yeah. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do more if, you know, yeah." And yeah, and after that, Scott, you know, he basically said, "Oh yeah, and good luck with Emily." And Mike was like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, you know, I have eyes under this helmet, you know, I see how she look at you, bro." Like, wow. So yeah, and the episode basically ended with, "Oh, Mike and Emily need to be together forever," you know. Basically, that's how it ended. Yeah. So yeah, that was the Samurai RPM crossover team up event thing, and it was I don't know, mediocre. I wasn't really blown away by this team up that much. I mean, it had a lot of good things in it, but I don't know. It's just there. I don't know. I mean, it's not like it like offended me that much, but it really didn't blow me away that much. I mean, it had good action and all, but like storyline wise, like the writing, it was wrong. I don't really know what to give this. I mean, either a 2 or a 3 out of 5, and I'm leaning towards the 2, honestly. Yeah, I guess I'll give it a 2. I'm sorry. I ain't feel it that much. I mean, when the best thing about your team up for me is Mike and Emily might get together, there's a problem. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just didn't really even seem like there was a point to this team up. What was the point of this? I guess just fan service, but like, if you're gonna do that, you need to make a well-written team up, and that didn't do it for me. Sorry. Maybe I would have gave it a 3 out of 5 if it didn't have Scott acting like a jackass throughout most of this episode, but it did, so it's getting a 2 out of 5. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I hope people who enjoyed the team up, you know, won't get too offended of my score, you know. We're all Power Ranger fans here. Anyway, since I'm really not feeling Samurai, I'm thinking about making videos just talking about my thoughts of like past Power Ranger seasons. Yeah. So I'm gonna do that soon, like when I'm finished with school for this semester, because school has been working me. I've been so busy with schoolwork. It's ridiculous. But yeah, okay. So what did you guys think of the team up? Did you like it more than me? Did you hate it more than me? I don't know. Leave me a comment. I enjoy reading comments. So yeah. Later, you guys.